Hey everybody, I'm Rick Beato. Since I've been in London, I've had a chance to meet up with two of my favorite guitarists who I happen to have featured on my video, my 10 favorite guitarists on Instagram. They are longtime Instagrammers and YouTubers, Rick, Graham, and Andy James. I have an interview with them coming up, but let me give you a little taste of each of their playing. Hey everybody, I'm Rick Beato. I have two special guests here. I happen to be in London, England. I've got Mr. Rick Graham and Mr. Andy James here. You guys know them from everywhere on the internet. And I've been following both of you for years. I was telling you both that my brother turned me on to both of your playing. I think actually Andy earlier than Rick.
That's probably the best way around to do it.
Well, he's always been more
If you watch
popular
him
than me.
play and you watch me play, you'd be less impressed.
Yeah, you've always been more popular than me.
Okay, so you guys actually have very different playing styles.
Yeah.
And which I find fascinating. And we were talking about this at dinner. Andy was talking about the picks he uses, for example. He uses these things that are like tree trunks. They're crazy. They're so
Reach
thick.
into my arse and get one.
It's they're 3.0, right?
That's a 2mm, but I've recently started toying with the idea of using a 3mm just because it's slightly thicker.
Okay, so talk about your playing style and how you alternate pick. You don't do sweep picking much. You were talking about that.
Yeah, I think with my sweep picking, I struggle to do it this way. I can do it that way.
Okay.
So if I'm doing like arpeggios, I try and stay away from anything that's like got any barring in it, which kind of avoids the need to sweep both ways. But also, string skipping was kind of something I got into when I was trying to play like sort of Malmsteen style arpeggios, but again there's like barring in it.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I discovered Paul Gilbert and the string skipping thing, those kind of first position minor and major like arpeggios became a lot easier to then sort of like move around into the other versions.
Is this why you move? Because you play you play up and down the neck a lot this way. Is that to avoid those to avoid bars and things like that too?
Yeah, so I'll try and play like arpeggios on like one string, or I'll string skip stuff, or I'll tap stuff just to avoid any horribleness which normally comes with like barring or playing any weird fingerings and stuff. So there's like, say if I had to play like, I don't know, Jason Becker's Serenar, for example, there's no fucking way I'd be able to do it because I just don't play like that.
Yeah.
So like I would probably figure out a different way of doing it so I could hit all the arpeggio movements in that piece of music, but it wouldn't necessarily be played the way he would do it, and it's just because I can't. And like these two fingers don't work together very well, so playing a lot of those traditional arpeggios don't really work either. So I've had to, my playing is basically just a series of workarounds. And so I just get rid
that
of
is
the shit.
so interesting.
Yeah, and today is the sort of result of that.
Now, Rick, you do a lot of things. You can do all types of bars, and you've really mastered that. Well, really both stuff with the sweeping and with the hybrid picking.
Yeah, wouldn't say mastered, but just, you know, I think more than that. I think what I've done is experimented with all these kind of things, and same kind of thing as Andy in one respect, in that, you know, I've tried different things just to see if it works for me, and then just picked out the ones that do. But also at the same time, like what Andy was talking about there, with this, you know, using this combination of fingers, you know, with a third and fourth. I actually started to do that, you know, early on.
You do that a lot, though.
I still do a lot in my playing, but it got to around about, I think, I don't know, some point in the 2000s, and I was just like, because I'd been doing it for so long, I just thought, man, this is pissing me off, because I just wanted to feel what it felt like to do something else, you know, a different fingering, and it, you know, logically it makes sense to use 1, 2, and 3. It's a stronger combination of fingers.
Yeah.
You know, and I was, you know, I've been watching Andy for so long, been blown away with his stuff. I'm just like, I've got to see what it's like to do that. And it didn't work initially, but now I incorporate that into my playing, as well as the, you know, this kind of fingering, including the pinky. And
but it's important for those arpeggios that you do, because
to get the extended stuff, it's very important, and to get those kind of lines that I do, it's just part of, you know, generally part of my playing now.
One of the things that you do that you have this incredible control over is muting notes. You'll bring in a palm mute as you're playing a line, and then you can come right off it.
It takes a lot of work. There's a lot of players that I've seen doing that. One of the first, actually, aside from Nuno's the guy that
he's great.
That really that came from.
Yeah.
I've seen other guys doing that, but the other guy that I saw do it was Tony McAlpine on one of his tuitional videos back in the 80s. He does this thing where he plays with the index finger, then hammers on with the other fingers to create like a triad arpeggio. And he kind of palm mutes it at the same time. So he was one of the first guys that I saw do it, and I've seen other players do it, and then it sort of crept its way into my playing, I guess, and you know, I spent quite a long time doing it, and I love the sound of it, and
it's percussive. With that.
It's very. I love that percussive sound.
Like
I
you
think
mentioned Nuno guy solo, you know, where he does.
It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable.
It's nuts.
It's unbelievable.
Never get me around.
Yeah, I think whenever I hear him do, you know, go back to those kind of albums where he does that kind of thing, not just in the soloing, but the riffing as well. He incorporates that percussiveness. I'm just.
Would you say that Nuno is incredibly underrated?
I cannot understand it. I mean, you know, they've done really well, Extreme, and I'm sure they sold lots of records. But as a guitar player, I don't think
he gets his.
He doesn't get his dues.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. He doesn't get his. You know, he's such a great player, great songwriter as well, and just a great singer, all-round musician. But I went to see them in December 2017. Man, they were so tight.
Yeah.
And his playing was just like, I can't believe. So yeah, massive fan here.
I went and saw him last NAMM. They played at the House of Blues or whatever. And like the song, because I didn't know if they were going to do it, but they did Little Jack Horny, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, because when you listen to the record, it sounds like the second half of that fast run bit. It's like a sort of punching.
Yeah.
Because the tone sort of seems to change, but it's not. It's just his approach, the way he just goes up like 3 gears from
it's
like
unreal.
the palm muted bit to the really fast palm muted bit. It's just nuts.
It's unreal. There's no question.
But the thing that did impress me, or
you know.
like I was like happy about, was he didn't do it down here. He actually had to lift his guitar up there. I was like, not even Nuno was cool enough to play it like down there. Do you know what I mean?
You just can't pull that kind of thing off, you know, right down. Although I don't know if you've checked out his thumb technique. when he's playing low, sometimes he does these fast lines and lead lines, and his thumb is right at the bottom of the neck. Have you seen that?
Right.
I've seen
that.
Yeah, and he's obviously cultivated that, and
I think that's for
practice.
that's for standing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought that's a bit of a sort of technical no-no, but obviously not.
Okay. Well, the technical no-no. But that's a good point. Is that a very salient observation that you can do whatever the hell you like with technique. Nobody says that you need to keep your thumb here and never move it.
When you watch like Doug Aldrich play, because he plays pretty low as well, but really flat-fingered as well.
Really flat-fingered.
The way he kind of bends, almost like that.
It's very odd.
Absolutely.
Like anchoring going on. It's
Absolutely.
Just
There's no rules, man, with guitar playing. There's no rules, man. And I think if this is where a lot of problems come with guitar players, is that they're told by specific people that what you need to do is you need to do it this way, and this is the only way to do it. And that's the worst way of teaching.
Well, it's like the pinky police. Like
Pinky police.
Yeah, because those teachers are making it like a nightmare for the rest.
Okay,
of
the
them.
pinky police.
Because it's like, because I don't do that. Someone who's commented on my video going, "Oh, he doesn't do this." So blah, blah, blah. I mean, I had someone tell me or comment on one of my videos or something.
Wait. Explain this.
Right, well, the whole finger per fret thing,
Yeah.
and you have to like die hard do that, and you can't break out of that or do anything, because some things I do, because I've got like this sort of ET stretch between the first and second
ET
finger.
stretch.
Yeah, it's sort of like this. But yeah, it just feels quite natural for me to do that, which is more of a sort of diagonal way to play rather than straight up and down. But obviously teachers are out there going, no, that's not a thing, and then they're cultivating this community that believe that if you do anything other than that,
it's not right.
Fret, it's not right.
It's crazy.
And they're the ones that.
Well, the thing is, it's really hard to find the balance between teaching, especially from beginner level and up to intermediate level, the things that may cause them problems later on down the line. So you have to tread carefully as a teacher and make sure they don't develop problems that will, cause problems. Yeah, that was obvious. But at the same time, you've got to, when you get to a certain point, you've got to say, you've got to show people that there is no right and wrong technique. You have to, because we're all human beings. We all do things in a different way. So that means if you're telling people that you can't move your thumb, and that individual doesn't, it's stopping them from expressing themselves.
Yeah,
that's a terrible thing, man. It's terrible.
Is there, if you were going to relearn the guitar, would you do something differently?
I mean, it's weird because like I'll learn things within the parameters of what I've already learned, but just like how to change it and how to do it. I mean, I suppose that's kind of why I've been able to, do stuff and not get found out yet, that I'm just recycling different weird shit and moving it around.
Talk about your action. You play with really high action.
It's high because I don't have a lot of legato in my playing, so I have to push down on the strings incredibly hard and I pick really hard. So if I have a low action, I get like what I call fret slap, which it gets rid of the tone of the note completely, and you just end up with this like thin, horrible. I don't know, but it's like the string's not resonating properly because it's too close to the frets. Quite a few people have picked up my guitars and just been totally shocked with how high the action is. But it has to be that way in order to kind of get it cleaner. It also has better resonance and low end because there's more height on it. And for the coordination between my left and right hand.
So we were talking at dinner and laughing because I wrote to Rick about the radius on his Strat guitar. It's not actually Strat, but it's Strat style guitar. What kind of guitar
style.
is it?
It's made by a great guy called Mike Smith Guitars from Merseyside in the UK, and he makes brilliant guitars.
So I wrote to Rick and I said, "What is the radius of your fingerboard?" Thinking he was going to say 16 or something, and it's 7 1/4.
7 1/4, yeah. I just get used to different setups. It generally doesn't take me long. So I've got an Ibanez J Custom. I've got another Ibanez.
Ibanez got to have 18 or 20.
I really don't know what that is. I'd have to look it up. But it's flat.
Yeah.
It's flat. It's flat as hell. And when I start playing it, after playing the Strat, it feels really uncomfortable because I'm just like...
In what way?
Because I just don't get the intonation right, I don't get the...
Because the bending has to be very different, right?
You've got to be ultra accurate, even with, with lower gauge strings and stuff like that, you really have... There's no resistance there. So, guys like Yngwie who play on 8s, apparently...
half a step down.
Oh, was it half a step down?
Well, no, 8
is half a step down.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's like 7.5.
Yeah, that's insane how he gets that intonation over the... for me, I need that resistance. So when I play on something like the Ibanez J Custom, it takes me a while to get used to that after I played on the Strats. And then when I go back to the 7 1/4, it's just like, oh man, this feels a little bit more like hard work, but it feels like, oh man, I love it. So it doesn't take me long, just half an hour, and I'm dialing it in. I just love Strats. I love the sound of them. Strat guy.
Now your Kiesel that you're playing.
For the first time, I wanted a guitar that had my name on it to have like the versatility as well. I mean, I'm obviously not known for doing like stratty kind of stuff. I mean, I've done a few videos and stuff like that using that kind of tone, but maybe not as much as say Rick does with his playing in sound and style and all that sort of thing. But having the option, paying for a guitar up at that sort of level, would make it better for it to be versatile. So
Sure.
I really wanted to try that. So when I did that song, The Watcher, that's on my YouTube channel, it's using a couple of different modes in the split coil thing, and I don't know, I mean, to be honest with you, that was pretty much what sold it to me, is like being able to do that and get that kind of tone out of it, which means that these guitars are versatile, not just for playing metal or whatever, but you can do like a whole bunch of other stuff on, which I thought was important for me. Should I kind of get older and slow down a little bit and maybe play a bit of country with a luminous green guitar? But I don't know, I just wanted the option to be able to do that, and for an active pickup and what I've been used to, it kind of matched all of that, and then just gave me the extra thing as well.
So Rick, interesting. So Rick, Andy was talking earlier about playing fourths are difficult. What's difficult for you to play that if you don't play for a few days is hard to do?
The first thing that goes for me is there's a few techniques generally. Are we talking techniques here?
Yeah, techniques.
There's a few things that go for me after periods of me not playing, and one of them is picking, but that's not the worst. The worst is vibrato and intonation. If I go for like a week of not playing, I have to sit down and just dial it in again. Doesn't take long.
What, you mean bending out of tune?
Yeah,
For a week?
absolutely.
Will you typically overbend?
I can just completely fuck it up. I can underbend it, overbend it, and it's just a matter of feeling my way back into playing again. So the vibrato takes quite a bit to really control, and it's something that's bugged me for years and years. Something that I practice all the time.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I'm glad you've said that, because I have that as well.
Yeah.
I noticed it literally the other day.
Yeah.
I was like playing, I was like, fucking bendings all over the place.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's
rubbish.
It's hard. It's hard. But the picking side of it as well, that goes. I'm one of those players that
I think that's general for most people.
Yeah, general for most people.
Yeah, because
picking?
Yeah,
well, I've thought about
I think the
this.
right hand goes. If you don't play for a couple days or something, it just
I've thought about this
See,
quite
that's
a
the
lot.
only thing that works. Everything else,
because you're like a right hand guy.
Just
What, it just works all the time.
That's everything else is shit, but that works fine.
That's amazing.
Anyway.
It's really interesting. I wish that would be the case for me, but however, what I've realised
So
is
sarcastic. Yeah, that's really interesting.
no, it was actually serious. What I've realised is that when I try and get my picking back, and generally when I take a long break from playing, is that the thing that I have to remind myself to do is completely relax with everything. And what I mean by that is when I haven't played for a while, I'll be out of control of tensing up, and
I know when you're playing well, you have almost no tension in your right hand.
It's really controlled,
and
it's
very little movement.
It's controlled, and it's controlled because I work on it a lot. So what happens is, because I haven't played for so long, I'd kind of lose where that sweet spot is for the controlling the tension. So as soon as I can find that and relax everything, then everything starts to flow more. And I've realised that's taken me years and years of really figuring out what the bloody hell is going on there. And I still can't get it right after all these years. But I think it's a mental thing more than a physical thing. Because if you can remind yourself mentally that, hang on, why is this not working? Oh, maybe it's because I'm tensing it up. Okay, let the body follow after the mental process. And that's what works for me. And if I sit there just trying to hammer stuff away all day, I'm not making the correlation between the mental and the physical processes that go on, and that's how I think about
It's
it.
a trauma, isn't it? I mean, I'll tell you what, weird thing happens to me when I'm rehearsing my songs at home is I actually go through what it feels like to be on stage, so I'll go through the whole nervous thing.
That's amazing.
And shaking and everything.
Yeah.
Because like psychologically, I mean, playing live for me is always like a massive stress because I have to drink and then I'm all right.
Yeah.
Playing sober for me is not the one.
That's
playing
like
a NAMM show and stuff like that. It's not the ideal. Like I always think if you can play at a NAMM show, you can play anywhere because it's not ideal. The sound's always shit. The lights are on.
It's horrible.
You've got
It's hot.
literally
You've got
with their phone in your
everything
face.
right there in your
And it's
face.
like fucking hell.
Yeah,
but
nightmare.
But you have to do it because obviously other people are not really, they don't give a shit about
No.
how you feel, they just want to see you play and it's like, okay, well I've got to try and get through it. But I think it's just trying to get yourself to like relax and just be okay with the fact that because there's nothing worse than watching somebody that's awkward on stage because people want to come and watch you.
That's why they're there. That's why they're there.
Yeah. So like the way I kind of get past it now is I'll have a couple, but then even though if I'm like really nervous and kind of like traumatized inside, I'll go out and do a show anyway because I know that the worst thing in the world for people to watch is someone being awkward on stage.
Yeah.
And then I mean, there's a reason why I didn't become a singer as well because as soon as I get on the microphone, that's it. Like it's just shit jokes and rubbish banter with the band and stuff like that, and But I try and get people like sort of in and stuff. I mean, I don't do enough of it, but
Okay, so I want to ask here, Rick, what bothers you about when you see people on Instagram or YouTube? What's something that bothers you? You don't talk about individual players. What's something that?
That is pretty direct.
You don't talk about individual players. What's something that
What you mean that bothers me about what I see about people, the content that people are putting out?
Yeah.
or just playing in general. Like what irks you about people when you hear something and you're like, oh, why am I hearing more of this, and why aren't they paying attention to what they're actually doing?
I mean, it's a tough bloody thing because generally I don't scroll through my feed anymore, so that kind of enables me to circumvent your question.
Oh, that's a great dodge.
No, I'm not going to dodge it because I think it's important. I think it's important to be real as a player. And I think it's important because I started realising...
Okay, what does that mean?
What that means is I went through this period where I was putting up videos when I was doing Instagram, every single day, sometimes 2 videos, sometimes even 3 videos a day. And I was sort of kind of to a point cherry picking some of the clips that I was doing. But to a point, because not always. Depends on how I'm playing. Sometimes I can do it in one take. Sometimes it takes me a long time, and I'm just like, fucking hell, I can't get this right. Excuse me, can't get this right. But in the end, all the good clips go up online.
Yeah.
So after a while,
that's pretty much what Instagram is.
That's kind of what Instagram is. So after a while, I just thought, this is not right. I think it's important to show people that we're normal, we're human beings, we're not perfect, we're not machines, so we have to realise that we all make mistakes. Because what was happening with me was that people were saying, oh god, this guy's technique is this, that and the other, because occasionally I do scan through comments and some people were just saying these crazy things. I was like, that's not me. I mess up left, right, and centre. So I started to post videos where I was really making mistakes.
I've seen them.
The clips where I'm just like, I can't get this right. And
I love those.
I think that's really important to do. But again, that's a fine line, because you don't want to put up false shit. You want to put up real.
Yeah, you don't want to like. Start
Because other people will start.
For the sake of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to find the balance between that. I think it's important for people who are watching your channel to realise that you're not perfect. It's okay to make mistakes, but don't manufacture those mistakes. Make sure they're real clips that are real. Just like capture a single. You trying to get something and maybe not getting it right. It's okay to share that kind of stuff. Yeah. And in fact, I think it's a lot more than okay. I think it's really important, because we all go through this stuff, and every single video that you put out is a final image of a projection of who you are as a player into somebody else's life. And if every single one of those things are perfect, then that puts a lot of pressure on other people.
It's like airbrushing photos and models. And
it's really difficult, because like you said before, what I don't want to do is put up all the mistakes, man, because
I think it's interesting that you're talking about this, because it is something that I feel like is probably something that should be shared a little bit more.
I think so.
Is obviously like when they see the video, or it's the final product of like. I mean, for me personally, I can never plug in and just play a solo as you see it. There's normally about 3 or 4 hours goes into like 30 seconds.
Well,
and it's on loop record, and you're constantly just like weeding out. And people say like, oh, how do you come up with solos? How do you do this, that, and the other? And it's like, it's a fucking painstaking process.
It is.
Literally playing everything that you know, and then cutting all of that out and sticking with the bits that flow together nicely, that kind of work together like back to back.
I think with a really well edited video, you can actually show that. So you can show the real frustration of trying to come up with a solo, and coming up with the solos hard, and but also improvising stuff and making mistakes, and the real side of it, but the problem that I have now is that the real side of it now, it's like there's a few channels on YouTube that are really, they're like millions of followers, and it's a woman that just posts comparisons of her with a famous supermodel in the same pose. Have you ever seen that?
No.
And she's got millions of followers, and it's just like this chubby, overweight woman that's just, tries to do this wonderful supermodel pose, and it's literally
it's like a comedy thing.
It's a comedy thing,
right.
But the problem is that will get to a certain point where it just becomes like, okay, we've seen enough now. So I think it's important to really balance just the realism of stuff, but also show them that you can play guitar pretty well. Well,
I mean, obviously there's like the professional side that you want to share, because obviously that's like the end result, and you want it to be. Because the thing is with this stuff, it lasts forever.
It does.
I mean, the things I don't want to put on a record that I've done or whatever, and hear like loads of mistakes and shit. I just oh god, could have played that better. Or I want to, if it ever comes on. I mean, I don't sit there and listen to my stuff generally unless I'm testing it against another mix or something like that. And then when I'm done with it and the record goes out, I generally don't listen to it. But at least if it came on in a playlist or something, I'm not sitting there going, oh god, why did I? Because I've done that before. I mean, I did an album in the wake of Chaos, right? It was terrible. I mean, people go, they like it.
Still have that album.
It's the songs, right, that people like, but I can't get past the terrible production on it. Like, it was a Roland Cube in a fucking cupboard with a pillow over it in an SM57 to try and get a certain... Because at the time I was sort of obsessed with Matthias Eklund, and I quite liked that sort of SM57
his bathroom sound he had on
but he had he's got this tone that is like... I don't know, he manages to sort of like live with this kind of boxy SM57 tone that most of us would try and get rid of out of a guitar tone, but yet he seems to exploit it on his albums, and for a time I was like obsessed with it. So I found that I could get a similar kind of sound by doing that, by miking up this Roland Cube instead of going direct out of the the thing, and I did all that, and then I was just using BFD for like drums, but I'd pre-program all the drums, and then I'd do like I just record, because I use like one of those Boss BR 800s or something to record that album, which was like a digital recorder.
Oh yeah.
So I had a working knowledge of Cubase only to program drums. I didn't know how to plug into it and record guitars and do all that, and that just seemed like a monumental task for me. I didn't know how to do it. So I just come out of the M audio interface into the Boss recorder, and I record in real time the drum track from start to finish, and then I'd go in and I'd record all the guitars and all that. But you know, I realised if I'd have probably just sort of spent a few months like messing around with Cubase, I probably could have got my head around it and done a better job. But like, I'll listen to that record and I'll just be like, oh, I can't deal with it.
So mistakes are, you know, mistakes are part of being a musician.
Yeah, it's definitely grown. Like,
yeah.
I feel like if you do like your first album and the production's amazing, the playing's amazing, the songs are amazing, like everything's amazing, where can you really go from there? You know,
it's the only way you grow.
Yeah,
it's the only way you can grow.
It's a documentation.
Of course, that's not to say that you should make a bad sounding first album, so that you don't have any place to go. No, you get it as good as you can.
But if you look at most first bands' first albums, they are probably inferior production-wise to where they end up. You know, 2 or 3 albums down the line. You know what I mean? I mean, that's not always the case, but a lot of, you know, when you're a new band, you don't have the same budget as you do. Like if you've sold a few million records or whatever.
And also, when you get to a certain point after a few years with knowing the people that you're in a band with, then you start to realise who they are as individuals, and you start to work together more, and then you reach a sort of like a musical peak of like where everything really comes together. You know what I mean? And you know, it's great if you can get that. You know, I just worked with people that I just didn't get on with very well.
If I said, I'm going to give you both the same question. What do you think is the greatest guitar solo that or the most influential guitar solo for you, Rick? That growing up, or what's the greatest guitar solo that you can think of?
I'm glad you got it first, because
I
can think about it for 30 seconds.
Yeah, man, Jesus Christ. Well, I have to look back on when I first started playing, and the things that really, you know, in terms of guitar playing, that really affected me, you know, when I'd hear the solos. I mean, one of my favourite...
What's a perfect guitar solo?
Oh, it's a perfect guitar solo, Jesus Christ. Are you asking me to actually say a guitar player and a track?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like trying to get blood out of a stone, isn't it?
Jesus, man. It really is difficult.
Okay, name me a couple.
It is hard, actually.
What a couple that come...
Let me give you a couple.
Yeah, a couple that come to mind.
Probably He-Man Woman Hater was one that really got me.
Yeah.
And you know, a few tracks off that album, you know, the solos. And a number of solos off The Extremist by Satriani. I used to have my headphones on and just go off into a completely different world of like, this is how guitar playing should sound. And yeah, I think that's where I would go. You know, I love Malmsteen stuff, but the solos never really got so deep into me, like the solos off. There's a few off different. I mean, how am I supposed to do that? Because I just go, oh man, it's got to be that. No, what about that? What about that? But yeah, I would say He-Man Woman Hate is great. That got to me a lot, and a number of solos from the Extremist album. I think that's what I'll go for.
I like it. Okay, what about you?
Well, having time to think about it, probably Night Train by Guns N' Roses, because I was probably about 9 years old when I heard that album. I mean, I didn't pick up the guitar until I was about 12, but Slash was like, that was it. I just wanted to do that. So that solo. Probably that, and I'd say another Slash solo was the Give In To Me solo, you know, the guest he did for Michael Jackson. For some reason, I was well into that. And then a kind of later on, sort of like around 16 or whatever, was probably Cry For You by Andy Timmons. Like that track from start to finish is like a masterclass in how to sort of like build it up, bring it down, build it up again, and just, you know, the thing I love about Andy's playing is, you know, so many players are defined by a particular technique. Like, you think of all these guitar players, and there's certain things that they do. Like, I don't know, Malmsteen would be like sort of sweep picking or neoclassical thing or whatever. Paul Gilbert would be picking, like Noonan would be like palm muting or strings. You know, there's always like a technique or something that you can attribute to like one of these players. But Andy, for me, just seems like you can't do that. Like, he just plays guitar just incredibly well, no matter what he does or whatever. And it's difficult to describe his playing because it doesn't really get pigeonholed into like blocks of technique just strung back to back. And like, when you listen to Cry For You, it literally sounds like the name of the song. Like someone's just crying through their sort of like guitar. Like, the whole thing for me, like, I could just listen to it over and over and over again. Like, so I always, whenever I'm doing like any sort of like slow tracks or I'm kind of like playing or whatever, my mind always sort of subconsciously wanders into however that made me feel listening to that, and then I'd try and, I mean, I don't really think that my playing sounds anything like Andy Teilor. I mean, I wish it did, but like there are certain elements of it with like kind of half step bends and maybe certain lines that I'll play or whatever, but it's not necessarily the technique that I think about, it's more how it made me feel. I was just kind of like going to that, but yeah, that track for me was a real eye-opener.
Okay, so wait, do you have a one that you've thought about now since then?
I've had so many that I've thought about. I think it's really what Andy was saying there about the fact that it's a whole song was a really, you know, interesting point. And you know, I think with like you know, some of the tracks off such as Extremist, some of those are like whole songs.
Yeah. Crying, for example.
Yeah, they're all entire songs. They're all. It's not just a solo. It's like an entire piece of music that is expressed through a guitar.
Okay, so wait, I have one question that I know you guys have never been asked. It just came to me. But what's your favorite fret?
My favorite what?
Your favorite fret.
Fret.
If you had to pick one fret on the fingerboard, what's your favorite fret?
Fifth.
The fifth fret.
Yeah.
I would probably go the same, actually.
I would say the fifth fret too.
I would go the same. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? We're all fifths.
All fifths.
Yeah.
Somebody remarked about had a video, my video I put out today, and I turned around my this Les Paul Jr. that I have, and it's really worn right around in the fifth fret area, and I said, I guess I like to play.
I guess
I like to play at the fifth fret.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I had an old Ibanez RG years ago, and it was a maple neck. And I remember just like playing all day long, and I left a road map on the fretboard of where I'd been, and it's just so cool to look at it and go, shit, man, I haven't gone in this area so much. Maybe I should spend a bit more time there instead of all the way up here. And it was always at fret 12 and 15, E minor pentatonic.
Mine was the fret dirt, the shit that comes off my fingers.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, you could see it like, but I think the fifth. For me, because it's like you can play all the positions in the minor pentatonic without having to go back on yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it from G as well, but it's slightly too low and it's a bit, it's the chord area. I don't really touch the chord area.
Okay,
from
so
the fifth fret up is the solo area.
Okay, so when you go into extended,
it is though, isn't it? When you think about it.
Okay, so when you get into the extended fingerings, Rick, for example,
what are we talking about?
Okay, so where's the first spot that it starts to feel comfortable when you start getting into the big spreads and things like that?
What
10th
you mean?
Fret?
You mean in terms of
yeah?
I mean that's an interesting point because I spent a while just going, man, this just works great up on the higher frets. How's this going to work?
How far down?
I don't have big hands. I just have normal. Average hands, a bit chunky fingers, so it's always a bit of a challenge to stretch. But if you can, there's ways to manipulate it with the thumb position and just your arm position, where you can actually get a bigger stretch than you think you can get. So I spend a lot of time at fret 5 doing extended positions. sometimes I'll go down a bit, but it's a little bit challenging.
You know, tapping exists, right?
I do know tapping exists, but I purposely made the decision to stop doing that, just for my own.
You're way less lazy than I am. I mean, it shows in the way that you play. So.
Well, it's is he being sarcastic?
No, honestly, I'm not.
so.
Like, I mean, we were saying this earlier. Some of the stuff you do, I mean, I would never even attempt, because again, it goes back to my point that I was saying earlier about the whole Becker thing. It's like most of my playing is just a series of things that I've avoided, and I've just been left with the things that.
But that's great, though. That's
I like
fine.
that.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
But you seem to me like a player that is, I would say, unhindered by all of the challenges of the guitar. It's just now stacking stuff on top of stuff that you already know.
Well,
and
I
being
do
able to play pretty much anything.
No, I'm away from that. But what I try and do as a player is put myself in a position where it's really, really uncomfortable, and try and find a way out of it. So it's exactly the same as what you're saying, but although you've got a different slant on it in that you just avoid anything that will. Well, but you'll find a solution to the problem.
Yeah, what happens
so it's the
is
same
I'll put myself into the lion's den for a bit.
Yeah.
I'll feel around, and then I'll
if it doesn't
come
work,
out minus an arm, but I'll have everything else.
But it was worth the effort.
Yeah, I'll get rid of that, and then I don't know. Yeah, there'll be some sort of way of like. You know, Crossroads, right? The Eugene's trick bag thing. The only way I could ever get through the opening arpeggio section for that is to tap it all. And arguably, it's way more difficult.
Yeah.
But because my tapping was a lot better than my sort of two-note per string picking, this was before I discovered like the sort of upstroke thing that I do a lot on.
Yeah.
I have this like weird formula for like picking. So if it's odd numbers, I'll start with a down. If it's even, I'll start with an up.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So like I hadn't had that down yet. So the only way I could do it was tapping through it.
But that's
a bit of a nightmare.
You know, this comes back to what we were saying before about teaching people, the right way and the wrong way, which I think is just, I don't agree with that whatsoever.
Yeah,
because if I let's say I was your teacher and you came to me and said, I can't do this, but what I can do is this. For me, I'll be like, God damn this!
Yeah, let's
that's so
explore
creative.
That. Well, I mean, I must admit, I'm a big fan of exploiting your strengths and just ignoring the weaknesses. Because the thing is, like, when people watch you play guitar, it's like I was saying about Andy Timmins. Like when I watch him play, like I don't think, he's not using any sweep picking now. He's not.
Who thinks that? Who thinks that?
Exactly.
Hang on a minute. Let's stop this song. Where's the sweep picking?
But I feel like some players they have to put all of that in, so other players notice that they know how to do it.
That's just
but it
completely
isn't really
messed
for
up.
it isn't really for the song. But I mean, I worked on like my picking a lot because it was the easiest way to sort of like play fast and do stuff and then tapping and then string skipping. So those three things I just exploited out, because it felt easier than the others.
Absolutely, man.
So, but nobody's noticing that my sweep picking isn't really that good.
Nobody. Well, only the idiots care.
Yeah, I know, but this is what I'm saying. It's like, in order to kind of have confidence and feel.
I mean, I don't think about your picking when you're playing. I think about what you're playing.
Yeah,
with both of you guys.
Yeah,
I don't think it's only when I actually will look at, look at your right hand.
Yeah, just analysing techniques and just looking at techniques and just going, oh well, how does he do this? And everybody's got a specific way of playing. Everyone's got a specific way of expressing themselves. And if you're teaching something, that's okay. You can just say, well, he used this, he used that. That's how music schools work. At music school, you go, this composer used these techniques, not rules, because rules were created to create specific sounds, but that this is how things work. Looking at people's technique is fine, but actually looking at it and going, mate, why aren't you using your pinky, man? Write a song with your pinky in it.
I've had someone say that they can't listen to my music. Listen, not watch, right? Because they think I don't use my pinky. Someone actually put that on.
No, are you serious?
Can't listen to this guy, doesn't use his pinky. whether he's watching it or not. You know what I mean? It's nuts.
We live in a
What
messed
can
up
I
world.
do to like improve?
I always
that?
notice when
Oh,
you use your
man.
pinky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I use it more than because it sort of sits under. It sort of sits like that. So
I don't know
just
what
sort
they're
of whip
talking
it
about.
out when I need it. You know?
Rip it out when I need
You
it.
use your pinky plenty.
Yeah, I have to. Like, you can't play guitar like, doing that kind of stuff and not use it at all. You know, it's impossible. I mean, people like Django Reinhardt managed to, but
Play
he's
pretty-
not.
you play
But
pretty well.
he's doing a lot
Yeah,
of.
it's case in point, you know.
Yeah. There's a lot of things he's not doing. But then, are we sitting there going, he's not
No, of
doing
course.
that technique. He's
Well,
not doing that technique.
imagine
He's
if
not gonna
Django
do
was
it.
alive now. You know,
Just listen to
Django, write an album with your pinky in it.
Yeah.
Give me a chance. I haven't got
Sort
one.
it out.
Jesus, people are nuts, man.
Well, he'd have a job to play now anyway. You know what I mean?
There we go. That's our sign. Our time is up. Our light has died, and this is actually a great spot to end.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank my guests, Rick Graham, Andy James.
Yes, thank
Subscribe to their Instagram, subscribe to their YouTube channels, and thank you everyone for watching. It's been great.
Thanks.
Cheers.
I once again like to thank Rick and Andy for being part of today's episode. Next time I get together with them, we'll all have guitars. That's all for now. Please subscribe here to my Everything Music YouTube channel. If you're interested in the Beato book, go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. Follow me on Instagram at rickbeato1, and if you're interested in supporting the channel even more, check out the Beato Club. Thanks for watching.